Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
Welcome to episode 95 of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. We are creeping up on 100 episodes, and if everything works out, the 100th episode is going to be a really, really good one for y'all. So, we're getting there slowly and steadily. I'm going to try to make this intro pretty quick. This episode is with my buddy Austin Stanley. He is the brother of Andrew Stanley and the son of John Stanley. A couple of buddies that I've had on recently. Went to high school with Andrew, went to high school with Austin, had no idea these guys hunted, and then found out like 2 or 3 years ago that they were actually hunting down the street from me. And they've got a lot of really good hunting stories where they hunt at. There's amazing genetics, and dude, this is going to be a really good episode. So before we get started, we got to hit the partners. I'm just going to run through this kind of quick because I did get down here a little bit later than I wanted to. First up is going to be Bow Hunting League. I think when this drops, the sign up is going to be over. So hopefully you got signed up. If not, definitely go to Bow Hunting League on Facebook, go to bowhuntingleague.com and, get signed up, man. Find you a team. And it's a great thing that these guys are doing at the Bow Hunting League. Awesome prizes to give away or to win, really. And they even have a truck or a Jeep. It's crazy, man, and they're giving that away. So next up is going to be the Boutique. Sending my arrows out finally to Michael this Friday, the time of recording this. I'm going to be getting some custom built arrows with some custom wraps. I have no idea what they're going to look like, but I'm extremely excited. He does amazing work. All his stuff is high quality. If you want some custom made arrows or custom made arrow wraps, reach out to him at the Boutique LLC and get your order in today. And when you do that, use the code SEBHP for free shipping. Next up is going to be Osteo gear. I actually just washed my Osteo today. Probably going to wash it at least one more time before season. Kind of getting a little weird about scent and stuff. And, that's just something that I've started doing. But that camo, dude, is amazing. The pattern is awesome. It's extremely unique. It's very quiet. It's very comfortable, very breathable. Just a great product and great company. So if you want to get some camo or you want to wrap Osteo, go to osteogear.com. Once you find what you want at checkout, use our code SEBH, and that'll save you 15%. Next up is going to be Summit Tree Stands. If you can see the bottom of my platform over there, I've been pretty busy, so I still haven't finished the final touches on my tree stand, but it's a couple small things and nothing crazy. So that Summit Dual Threat Pro SD is going to be extremely instrumental for me killing any deer I kill this year. Trike has been showing up a lot, and I've got a whole plan for that. So I trust Summit to get me in the tree. I think you should too. So go to summitstands.com to either get a new tree stand, some accessories, some gear, but they cover all bases, man. And when you do that and you go to checkout, use the code SEBH15 to also save 15%. Next up is going to be Scout Tech. Dude, my camera's been working amazing. I actually have video running right now, so I can bring videos of trike and any other deer that run through to you guys on the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Scout Tech is an amazing company, amazing customer service, amazing quality cameras. And dude, I'm very, very thankful to be partnered up with them. So if you want to, upgrade your camera game, get some cell cameras, go to scouttech.com and check out everything they have. There is a lot of stuff coming with those guys. So just be on the lookout for that. Next up is going to be Ace Hardware and Social Circle. I can never say that. That bow shop, dude, has got me set up and helped me out so much this year. Some awesome guys over there, John and Mark, and they literally do everything that you need them to. They have all the products you would need. So go check them out. Next up is going to be Bergie Bowsmith. Can't wait to send my bow off to him to see what kind of magic he can do with it. I'm going to get some new strings from Unbound through Bergie. And he actually has a code for you guys now. So if you go to bergiebowsmith.com, he's become a dealer for a wide range of companies. You can use the code SEBH10 to save 10%. Next up is going to be VPA. Look, man, I've got my broadheads tuned, dialed, ready to go. I'll be running the Omega and the S7 left bevels. I may be running the Omega with bleeders if I can get them in time. If not, I know that the broadheads I have now are going to get me through it. And they are the toughest broadheads I've ever shot. I know they will not fail me, and I know they will not fail y'all. So go to VPA.com, or I'm sorry, Vantage Point, VP Archery. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. VPArchery.com, and check out all the broadheads they have. They are now partnered with Valkyrie Arrow or Valkyrie Archery. So they've got their broadheads, and I believe they might have their arrows. I haven't really checked, but they also sell Victory arrows. And as you know, we are partnered with Victory. So you can go over there and get those arrows from them as well. And when you go to checkout, use the code SEBH10 to save 10%. That goes site-wide. Next up is going to be Dialed Archery. My Arxos is dialed, no pun intended. And it is ready to go. I mean, it's the best bow sight I've ever used. I don't ever see me switching. So if you want a new bow sight, go to dialedarchery.com and check out the Arxos. They have a wide range of customization you can do with it. And it's just a great company with great people. Last but not least is going to be Camo Dust. I actually just dusted down all my camo after cleaning it. That's kind of the procedure you're supposed to do. And, I trust them to keep me concealed in the woods from these deer that, we love to hunt. And the stuff that they do behind everything with Camo Dust is amazing. Chris is going to be coming on in a few weeks. And I can't wait to hear what's been going on with those guys and maybe what new products might be coming. And if there is no new products, you kind of don't need it because honestly, Camo Dust, it works. It's the only scent product that or scent concealing product that I trust. So that's going to do it for the partners. Every episode I say this, and I'm going to keep doing it. If you don't know Jesus Christ, please get to know him. The world is crazy right now. Okay. And, I've been struggling with my own stuff. Everybody is, and I would not be able to get through it if it wasn't for him. So I have to give him the praise and the glory. I have to give him the recognition he deserves. I hope that this reaches somebody that is in need of it and gives their life to him. Because it'll change your life, honestly. So I guess that's pretty much everything for the intro. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, check out the Facebook, subscribe on the YouTube channel. I actually am planning on filming some hunts this year, so hopefully we can get those out. If I can get everything in time and Trike continues to do what he's doing, I will probably have that hunt filmed and be posting it, so everybody will get to see what happened. You'll either get to see me completely lay the ham down to him, or see me missing and have a terrible start to the season, which I doubt is going to happen. We'll see. I've been trying my best to practice as much as I can and, make it the most ethical shot possible and put him down as quick as possible. So we will just see what happens. So again, thanks to everybody who listens. If you want to reach out and, just talk hunting, talk archery, have questions, whatever, got ideas of who you want to see me try to get on the podcast, just reach out to me on any of those platforms. And I would love to hear it. So enough of that. Let's get started with my buddy, Austin Stanley, and hear what's been going on with him, man. We got my buddy, Austin Stanley. This has been a long time coming. We got his brother on, we got his dad on. Now we got him on to basically hear his side of things from the Stanley family. So a little bit of background, Austin and I went to high school together. I was in the same grade as his brother. Honestly, me and Andrew kind of, in a sense, grew up together almost. I mean, I think we started going to school together in middle school and had no idea you guys hunted, man. We were kind of on two different sides of the coin. Like I was, little punk skateboarder, and I think Andrew was playing football and doing all that stuff. And then we just reconnected a couple of years ago. And then I come to find out you guys are some just basically killing machines. I mean, I've seen what your dad's done. I've seen what you guys have done. So, before we dive into all the nitty gritty stuff, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and I guess how you got to, the point that you're at? Because you do more than just hunting. You're like a young Cam Haynes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you're doing these marathons and all that. Like, how'd you get to that?
So I started hunting, or I guess I have always grown up around hunting. My dad obviously has hunted, his dad hunted, so it's kind of been in the family. I remember, since I can remember, I remember going out in the woods with my dad, helping him out. And I started hunting when I was 7, I want to say. Killed my first deer. It was a little 3-point at Clydeville WMA when I was 8. And then killed my first deer with a bow when I was 11. And ever since I killed my first deer, I've been hooked to it. It's literally my obsession. It's in my blood, honestly, at this point. And it's what I think about year round. And I always get asked if I had to pick turkey hunting or deer hunting, which one would I pick? And I really couldn't choose one. In the spring, I'll say turkey. and in the fall I say deer. But yeah, it's really just part of who I am. I love it. I only bow hunt now because the club that we're part of is bow only. Um, but even if I had a chance to gun hunt, I just prefer to bow hunt. I like the challenge of it. It's more of an enjoyable experience. Just the close quarters, more challenging. Um, and then on the fitness side of things, I did get into running when I was back in 2020 during COVID. Um, just something to do. I used to play football and baseball and wanted something kind of competitive, and started out with a half marathon and did that. And it was, I survived it. So I was like, well, let's double that. So I did a marathon in November of 2020. And then I wanted to do an ultra marathon. So then that following December, so December 2021, I want to say I did a 50-mile trail race. And I thought that would break me, but it still didn't. So then in 2023, so yeah, last year, a little over a year ago, last July, I did a 100-mile race. And that one, it pretty much did break me. So I ended up in the hospital with rhabdo for like 3.5 days after that. So that was kind of scary, but I was looking for my limits, and I think I found them. So
Good Lord, man.
yeah,
My legs are killing me just hearing that.
it was a wild experience, and it's yeah, you have to be in good shape, but it's so mental. It
Yeah.
really it's a way to like strengthen your mind. I don't think there's anything more like mentally tough than endurance fitness. I mean, it's your mind wants to play games on you. Your mind will quit before your body will. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
but,
mean, I can relate to that because the mile run we had in high school,
yeah,
that broke me.
yeah,
So I don't know what it is, man. Like I've tried the cardio thing a few times. Like, hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this, but there was a girl I dated out of high school that she would run 35 miles a day. And I tried to go with her
yes.
one time, and it was over at Swanee Creek or Swanee Park, that trail
Mhm.
they've got.
Yeah,
She would go zipping up and down, and I'm on mile one still like heaving and about throwing up. And I'm like, I just see her run past me. I'm like, how are you doing this? And
that's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah, well, and like I skateboarded, so you'd think the
Hmm.
cardio would be good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because my parents smoked or what it was, but I have never been able to do like I can hike all day long, but if it's a
Uh-huh.
running thing, I'm I'm dead. You give me half a mile, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, I remember, back in like high school and stuff, you were playing football and baseball and doing all of that. And it's really crazy looking back on when we were younger. And I think I said this to your brother too, is that you guys were doing, the whole hunting thing. And I've always been into it. I didn't even get into it till 5 or 6 years ago. And
Hmm.
what's so ironic is you said your first year you killed at Clybell. Well, that's the public land that I hunt every year now. And it's like, how did we go from Gwinnett County to here and we're hunting the same places? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
It just blows my mind, dude. And then
It's
come to
wild.
find out, when I first start hunting, I'm hunting a mile or two from y'all's club. And that's how
Hmm.
me and Andrew reconnected because it's like, I think he reached out or maybe I reached out and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm over here in Rockdale. And I'm like, dude, what part? And he told me, and I was like, oh, that's literally a mile from where I'm at. I was like, have you seen this buck? And I'm pretty sure he killed a buck that I was hunting,
Yeah,
actually.
I remember him telling me that because
Yeah.
then you sent him a picture and you were like, because I mean, it looked damn similar if it wasn't it.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, dang, dude. But no, I mean, y'all's honestly, man, y'all's family and hunting is impressive, right? Like I know that you went on that elk hunt with your dad and brother.
Hmm. Yep.
How was
Yep.
that? Because I
It was,
mean,
I mean, everything shy of killing one, it was awesome. But I mean, I mean, that would have been the cherry on top. Just
yeah,
getting to experience that, just the wilderness out there, and honestly, going out there with no service was part of the best part. Like it was just nice to get away. I'd never done horseback, so that was really cool. And I got close to a couple bulls. The wind on both of them, the wind switched and they smelled me, but um, it was it was very rugged terrain, so it wasn't quite what I expected as far as like accessing the bulls when you hear them bugling. But just that experience, getting to see the country out there, and it was awesome. And then Andrew got to kill one, so that was great. But honestly, if it kind of, I don't know what we would have done, because the bull that he killed, we had I think 5 coolers, and it filled all 5 up.
Oh,
So
geez.
we would have been in trouble if we killed another one, but we would have figured
Yeah.
it out, I guess.
So
But
I mean, what's like, because you're like me, you only bow hunt, and
mhm.
that's I think I've only been bow hunting, like strictly bow hunting, for maybe 4 years now. Um, I don't know about you, but I've probably gone through multiple different arrow setups. Like when you're
Mhm.
looking at whitetail and elk, are you running similar setups, or are you going with a heavier arrow for elk, heavier for whitetail? Like what's I guess your goal arrow build for that?
Yeah, I just kind of recently got into all of that. I used to just shoot, I want to say a 300 spine with just a 100 grain, 125 grain broadhead, and that was it. And I had heard some friends talk about it, and I'd heard about Ranch Fairy, and I had watched some of it, but never really looked into it that much. And then when we went elk hunting last year, um, all 3 of us really started researching it and looking into it. And we switched to single bevel and a heavier arrow. And then the ones that we had were actually, my dad got them sent for free from one of his friends. They were the FMJ dangerous game arrows. So they were almost too much, because they were like 17.3 grains per inch.
Holy crap,
Yeah,
dude.
and these were literally like steel rods.
Jeez.
So we used those just because they were free, and we got them for elk hunting, and then switched to a grizzly stick single bevel.
There you
And
go.
then I ended up just sticking with those after looking into it. I shot those for deer last year, um, killed a doe with it, and then I shot a buck last year. He was at 35 yards, and I saw my nocturnal go like right behind his shoulder. I thought I smoked him, and got down and saw the arrow. The arrow was broken right where he was, um, but there was like, I don't know, a foot broke off, and then I don't know,
Hmm.
10 yards down the trail was the rest of the arrow, and we blood trailed it for, I don't know, 200 yards, and then got a dog the next day, and we ended up getting a picture of him in February. And what happened was he jumped the string, and I hit, I mean, pretty much perfect right in his shoulder. Like it
Mhm.
would have been a heart shot, but when the way because I was shooting from this way, and he dropped and he turned so sharp that it went in and it came out as brisket. So he was
Mm.
quartered that much that it missed the heart by, I don't know, an inch at the max. So we ended up, like I said, we got a picture of him in February, so he's still alive. So hopefully I get some revenge this year.
Yeah.
But I knew that setup was just a little bit too heavy, like it wasn't necessary. So
Well,
then
what was the total arrow weight? Like when you shot that, what
it
was your
was
weight?
like, I want to say, I mean, it was flirting with 700. I want to say, yeah,
Lord, man.
it was. I mean, those because there was no insert in it. It may have been 680. I don't know. It was up. It was above 650. I know that.
Jeez.
Um, And then this year, I got some. I was doing some research on it, and actually found these arrows called Widowmakers,
Hmm.
and they're from Australia. And I ordered those. These are, and now looking back to it, that I've heard about it more. I wish I would have got something a little bit lighter in the arrow, because these are 13.1 grains per inch, I think. Um, so I have those, and then a 75 grain half out. It's actually the shoot, what's it? There's the Victory insert, that their
Is it the
newest one.
shock insert?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's that, and then I have the 125 Grizzly Stick single bevel. So now that setup is like 630. Um,
So heavy.
it is.
That's crazy, dude. Because like,
I wish, yeah. And
I mean,
like I said, the
look.
only thing I could change, I would like to, because I like the weight of it. Um, I would like to be, I think, a good range for like that bone breaking technology and all that stuff with Ashby is, I think 630 is the bone threshold.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 650, as long as
And
everything else is in line.
yeah, so the issue that I see now, that's why I think the sweet spot's like 10 grains per inch on the arrow, because my FOC isn't what I would like it to be, just because the whole setup's so heavy. But I actually got a dozen of those arrows for like $100.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm gonna try it out. But probably next year, if these aren't shooting like I want, then I know I'll probably get the victory,
I
the
was
VAP
just about to
design.
say, dude, because and I'm a little biased because we're partnered with Victory, but I've been
Mhm.
shooting Victories now for maybe 6 months or so. And then before, it's a long story. We had another arrow partner.
Yeah.
It's good quality, but I'm not going to go into it. Long story short, I was shooting Victory before that happened, and I loved it. And I mean, I shot probably the cheapest you could get Walmart arrow all the way up to now the RIP TKO. And whenever someone says, "Oh, what arrow should I get?" That's the arrow that I tell them to go with, or anything that Victory makes.
hmm
So if you don't like those, I might. What's your draw length?
it's 30.
Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
30.
Never
Yeah.
mind. I was gonna say I might have some extras you could try out if you wanted to, but I'm over here like a T-Rex. I got a 27.5 inch draw.
Yeah.
They might be a little short, but yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing, dude, is like, because I went heavy. I think the heaviest I went was like 588 a few years ago. And the deer behind me I can't, right there.
Yeah.
Um, Shot him with I think a 515 grain arrow with mega meat on it, and didn't know what I was doing at all. Like tuning, there was no tuning. I just shot the arrow, it hit where I was going. And when he showed up, he was quartered away, kind of like what you were saying, quartered away from you. And I hit him, and what was wild about it is it buried in the offside shoulder. And I think I was running like 18% FOC or something.
hmm
The one thing that I would say with the arrows you're running right now, like what'd you say it was 13 PPI?
13.1, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I would try something like a lighter GPI arrow, but get a stouter, run like a 250 spine, right? And then
That's
get,
what these are 250.
oh, they
Yeah.
are. Okay.
hmm
Yeah. See, I mean, try them out because I don't know. They could work. I
hmm
got a buddy that shoots 400 spine and he's a 31-inch draw at 75 pounds. Makes no sense. So if those arrows don't work out, if you want like high FOC, I'd go with like you were saying, like the VAPs or something a little
hmm
lighter on the arrow end and then go heavier up front.
Yeah. That's looking back. I wish I would have done that. And I'll probably do that.
Okay.
I don't know. Next year, I'll see how these go. But I know because I could put a heavier insert and a heavier broadhead, but then my overall to get the FOC up, but then I'm going to be at 700 grains again. So,
That's so wild to me, dude. You and Troy, because I had Troy on the podcast like
mhm.
5 months ago. You and him are the only two people I know that are above 600, which there's nothing wrong with it. Like next year, I'm probably going to run a heavier setup because I'm shooting single bevels too. And I think right now I'm at like 445
Mhm.
and running a single bevel, and that's where I shot last year, and it worked great. Um, but I kind of want that, like I lost a doe to a shoulder last year. Now the arrow failed, so I don't know if that setup would have worked, but
Mhm.
clearly it didn't, right? So I kind of
Yeah.
want to go a little heavier and try that, especially since we're going to Illinois next year, and those deer are like twice the size of our deer down here. So that makes me think though, like, so you've gone out of state a couple times, right?
Turkey hunt, but not deer hunting. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have any plans to go out of state?
Uh, Typically traveling is just turkey hunt. I mean, I would like to go, or I will say I put in for preference points for Kansas
Okay.
this year, and I think I'll be able to get drawn next year. So I would like to go there. I mean, yeah, any of those Northwest states, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. I mean, that's where all the true giants are. I would love to go out there. I don't have any set in stone plans, but I know it'll happen. Yeah, in the next couple of
Yeah.
years.
I mean, it's, being from Illinois, going back now is going to be one of those crazy moments because I mean, I've seen what's been up there. right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it in the flesh, and I'm telling you, man, like Georgia's great, and I consider Georgia a sleeper state, but there's something about those Midwestern whitetails that it's totally different. And
Oh
see,
yeah.
dude, I could have sworn that Andrew, your dad told me that you had gone out of state for something other than the turkey. Like I know that you went for elk, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but
Um,
that's wild.
if I did, maybe I forgot. I've gone several states for turkey, and like this past year, I killed one in should have killed one in Alabama on opening day. My gun clicked. Uh,
Mm,
had three long beards at like 35 yards, so I count that as a half kill, I guess. And then I killed one in Mississippi, uh, Kentucky, and then three in Washington, and one in Georgia with my bow.
oh dang, dude, you went to Washington?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was
this is
amazing.
what you need to do. You need to go to Washington, go kill some blacktails.
Yeah,
That's what you need to do. Or a big Roosevelt elk up there, because those suckers, man, they get like 2,000 pounds and they're just I don't know. I want to start branching out too. Like Illinois is gonna be the first out of state hunt that I've done. I was gonna go to Colorado, but they've gone so like
because
strict
they're
on
not
the
over the
laws.
counter anymore, right?
Yeah, and I was
But,
just gonna go for a mule deer. Like I like
hmm
elk, they're cool, but muleys to me are like the goal, right?
hmm
And my uncle lives out there. Like I had the inn, he knew where to go. We could go to a unit that was over the counter. And then I come to find out this year they took that away. And I'm like, well, dang, dude. So now I got to
Yeah,
spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on points and maybe go in 15 years. That's stupid.
hmm yep.
So I don't know, man.
But yeah, my
But
top two things are going to be elk and a mule deer. Yeah, I would love to spot and stalk mule deer.
yeah. What about caribou? Because your dad sends me photos and posts of people hunting caribou all the time, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. Like,
Yeah,
like
no,
I can't look at this right now.
I would love to do it. It's not on the top of my list. I mean, I think they're beautiful. I think they're. I've seen some of the hunts. It looks amazing. Um, I mean, if I got offered it, I definitely wouldn't say no.
Mm.
But for right now, I want to cross off the elk and mule deer first, and also antelope. My dad is actually
Yeah, is he
about
still out
to.
there?
He's about to get home in I don't know a couple hours.
Okay.
They left yesterday morning. Yeah. So he killed one on the first day, and then his buddy Scott, his Air Force buddy, killed one 2 days ago. I want to say. Um, so they got it done.
Yeah, he sent me a photo of the of his first day kill, and I'm like, dang, John. I'm like, now what are you gonna do, man?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Because he had a private land tag for a doe, but he never could find access anywhere. So he was just helping his buddy Scott. He was spotting for him, and basically just sitting in the truck a bunch.
jeez. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, like when he was on, and I don't mean to make it all about your dad, right? But your dad has done
Yeah.
some crazy
Mm-hmm.
things, right? Like you and Andrew would not be where you're at without him. So I have to give him the credit that he
100%.
deserves.
Yep.
Um, he, I would say, is probably one of the best hunters that I think I know, and just a good dude. I mean, how did that
Mm-hmm.
bow giveaway thing go? Because I saw he posted it. I was supposed to give him some broadheads, and I honestly have been too busy to drive out there. But
Mm-hmm.
what how'd that go? Like, how many bows did he give away?
It went well. I want to say he gave away. It was either two or three. I know he gave away his old one, or maybe it was Andrews. I can't remember what year that was. But he gave one away, and then this other guy um, had the kid go to a pro shop and like look at bows and try them all out, and then his mentor is there with him, and he's like, "Oh, so you like this one?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I wish I could have it." So then they called this other guy that was helping out, and he's like, "All right, it's yours." And he paid over the phone with his credit card and
Wow,
bought him a brand
that's
new
crazy,
setup bow. Yep. So
dude.
yeah, it's an awesome thing that he does, and I hope, or I plan that Andrew and I will continue that for as long as we can, because that's what it's all about, just getting people into the outdoors, especially bow hunting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and people, because I started off gun hunting,
mhm,
and it's cool, and I got nothing against it. I may even go
mhm.
on a gun hunt this year just because a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, dude, if you need some does, you know, you bring your 308." And I'm like, well, I don't really want to. I was like, but if it's the only way I can do it, say the season just goes complete opposite of how I think it's going to, I'll go. I mean, we're out of ground deer. Like our deer tacos are done until I kill
Hmm.
another deer. So I'm a little bit depressed about that because I don't want to go back to that high fat stuff you buy at Kroger,
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
But yeah, man, I kind of want to transition a little bit. Obviously, when this episode comes out, what's today's date? It is the 21st. So next week, it'll be 2 weeks from now. Um, I think we'll only be like a week or two away from
Yeah, is
season at
this
that point.
the 14th? I think
Yeah.
is
So
opening
like
day. Yeah.
what's your early season strategy? Because I know, y'all's property holds some seriously good bucks. You and Andrew sent me your six,
Hmm.
top of the list bucks, and
Yeah.
all of them I'd probably fall out of the tree stand if I saw one, honestly.
Yeah.
So like what's the plan in order to get on one of those guys?
Um, yeah, because I know my dad talked about it. Yeah, so we don't. Our club doesn't allow baiting, so it's not just we put corn out over the summer just to get pictures and whatnot. But a lot of times early season, um, I guess the first couple of weeks, it's really just I mainly hunt like travel corridors. A lot of times we have some big select cut pines, and it's overlooked. I think a lot of times that undergrowth, just the briars and the small little weeds and plants that grow up under the understory, the deer hammer those things. Because I killed a doe last year doing that same thing on the second day of the season. Um, and that little transition time where the bucks are getting out of their summer pattern, go into their fall pattern, it's always kind of difficult because you'll have them all summer, and then it's like they know when the season starts because they'll just disappear.
Right.
But one thing that I have found great success with, especially with some older, bigger bucks, is like I would say the third week in September, we have a bunch of northern red oaks. They're a little bit bigger acorn than an actual just a standard red oak, but those always drop mid to late September, and as soon as those start dropping, they get hammered. So if I can find a good feed tree, one that's dropping well, then that's typically what I'm targeting. Um, and I've done it before, and I've had uh, success with pictures. Never killed one on it, but opening up scrapes early, the
Mm-hmm.
deer. I mean, it's a yeah. They're gonna naturally scrape more late October, November, but it's a way that they communicate. So they're putting their scent on it year round. They may not be aggressively scraping, but if you open one up, they're gonna come check it out at least. So I plan to actually go down this weekend and open some up to put some cameras on just to try to get in a pattern. Um, but yeah, really, I would say staying close to the bedding areas, um, and hopefully halfway finding a patternable buck. But on an early season, it seems like hit or miss. I always like getting into the first and second week of October. Um, I feel like scrapes when they really start opening up then, and it's normally around the second week whenever there's a full moon in October. Whatever, I don't know what it is, but the first, I would say 3 days before and 3 days after on a scrape, those are money.
Yeah.
I've had years and years of not necessarily that I was hunting there, but just pictures of bucks in daylight around, I would say the 9th to the 15th, probably.
Hmm.
There's something about that. And I haven't even checked the calendar this year. I'm not sure when the full moon is, but a lot of people have opposing views on full moon. Some people hate it, some people love it. But
All right, I'm gonna open that can of worms there.
yeah.
I'm on the fence about it because so we just had a full moon, right?
Hmm.
And the I don't know if the activity was higher because of that or if because I had just put food out. Because I mean, I bait. All my neighbors bait.
Hmm.
When I hunted by you guys, I was baiting. But I did notice that, I mean, you're right about the time frame. I would say where I was at, which is crazy because it's only a mile away, but it was maybe a week or two behind what y'all see. Because over there, I would, I'd do the same thing. Mock scrapes early. I've already got mock scrapes out on public, and I've got a scrape that Trike, that 6 point I'm after, keeps
Mhm.
using. He's been using it all year. But I did notice it ramps up, mid October to the end of October, and they would always show up and hit scrapes. Now, I
Mhm.
obviously didn't know what I was doing back when I was hunting that spot, and it literally, I think I've killed two deer over there within 2 weeks of each other, both in
Mhm.
October. And after that, because I was still new to it, going in all the time, I didn't see anything. But in that area, you're right. Come October, the acorns start falling, they start hitting scrapes more. Y'all's situation's a little like, do you guys have any food plots or any, you
Yeah,
know,
we probably have mm, 8 food plots.
okay.
Um, I rarely hunt them. I mean, some people have killed big deer on them. Most people are hunting them when they're just trying to shoot a doe.
Mm.
Um, but they plant those normally in early September, I want to say. And they've planted so many different things. I don't even know what they're planting this year. But they come up. They're we have several in the power line and some in the woods, but they do well. The deer hit them good, but I know a lot of times the bucks are obviously coming there at night, um, and that's why I think a lot of people that hunt over bait sometimes, yeah, a lot of people kill deer over bait, but I think sometimes it hurts people because they put all their eggs into they're hunting over
Mhm.
that bait pile. The deer's going to come or it's not, but those I'm sure you've seen it. Those big bucks they're not stupid. If they came to in daylight to the bait pile every day, then they'd all be dead.
Yeah.
So I think some people rely on them too much, or as you can use it to supplementally feed them and kill does and whatnot. But I think sometimes hunting off of that bait pile to where you can't even shoot to it, wherever the buck's coming from, you have more likely of a chance to kill him or see him in daylight. Because if you're showing up right after daylight, he's coming from his bedding area. So if you are going that direction, then you're he'll be up on his feet earlier by the time he makes it out there.
So
Um,
to that point, it's funny you bring that up because that's exactly what I'm doing on a different spot. Because right now, so Trike is basically, I'm not going to say he's trained, but let's just put it, I'll just say it like it is. If I put food out, I know for a fact that deer will be there that evening in daylight, no problem, right? I mean, I was up there on Monday, I put food out, and there was a doe that was 20, I got to 20 yards within this doe, and she didn't care, like at all. And then
uh-huh.
she sees me. She sees I'm coming towards her, and I got this big bag of corn on my shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, okay. I'm out." And then she came back 20 minutes later, right?
Yep.
So that place, I can't. If I wanted to advocate for like, oh, bait everywhere, bait this, bait that, I
Mm-hmm.
could use that. But I don't even like hunting over bait, honestly. It kind of, yes, it helps, but it also in some senses makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of just do it because I have to.
Yeah.
Um, but you're right. I mean, there's a couple things. So, like, have you listened to the episode I did last year with Clifton Denny?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
So the reason I ask that is because he's killed 16 Pope and Youngs on public.
Wow.
And the way he does it is he looks at the map. I actually just did an episode with him last week. So all that updated information will be out Tuesday. But
Okay.
what he told me is that he'll look at Onyx and he'll look for the fat line on the topo map.
Mhm.
And what he does, because I used to think he's like saying, okay, find the fat line and go there, you'll see a big deer. That's not what it is. It's basically you find the fat line, then you find a pinch point, and you sit on that pinch point, and that's where he's seen most of them. So it makes me wonder if, like, how you're saying it's kind of hit or miss early season. If you tried that, that might be a way to maybe, for some reason these deer like to use that. Um, I plan on doing that over at my bigger property where I'm going to have bait, but I'm also going to be set up around the perimeter of it and
Mm-hmm.
probably on the very back end on like this fat line section that they have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you use Onyx and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you noticed anything like that? Like where you've got your cameras at and where the bucks are?
Um, with the property that we're on, I know it so well. I don't look at Onyx. I mean, I've walked every inch of it, so I just know it in my head.
Yeah.
So I mainly use Onyx when I'm somewhere I'm not familiar with. But as far as pinch points, funnels, stuff like that, I mean that's money when you come to a big deer. They're gonna use it, and a lot of times I would say early season or really whenever, if you're not totally sure, um, an observation sit is gold. I actually killed a buck 3 years ago. I saw him from like 150 yards away. Um, he was hitting this white oak and then walking through the pines. And then that following week, I climbed a tree where he was, and he showed up just on that little pattern he was on, and I killed him. Um, yeah, people, I think,
Dude, I get so hyped when I hear stuff like that.
yeah, especially if you're unsure of an area, like just sitting back and being able to see, you can learn so much of just how the deer interact and where they're
Yeah.
coming from, where they're going, and then because if you were just to if you just busted in there, then you can either spook them, you don't know where they're coming from, they can wind you, and then I mean I think it's going to differ on each buck, but a lot of times if they smell you, then your your chances of seeing them again in that area in daylight aren't great. If they see you, it's one thing, but I mean they live by their nose, and
Yeah.
they didn't get old being stupid. So
Yeah. I mean,
um,
that's the biggest thing I've learned, because maybe I think last year I was trying to be a little bit more picky, but before that
mhm,
I was like, just wanting to do better, which I still want to do better every year, right? Like I still want to kill a deer bigger than Pickles
mhm,
behind me. I've got 4 or 5 properties now that, 2 are public, 2 are private. Trike is bigger. But I can't really use Trike as an example anymore because he is so patternable. It's
mhm,
it's ridiculous. So I kind of have to like look at other stuff and be like, okay, this is what a real wild deer does, not what a neighborhood pet
mhm.
will do. If
Yeah.
if I'm gonna say it like that, he's not really a neighborhood pet, but you get what I'm saying. It's kind of
Mhm.
like he is what people who watch Seek One think that their deer are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, dude. I mean, are you guys planning on hitting any public this year? Like you mentioned, you hunted Clybell. Like, have y'all
Um,
about coming out this way?
Not, I mean, we have points to put in for quota hunts and whatnot. We haven't really talked about it because it's just the property we're at is so. I mean, it's 35 minutes from us or
Yeah,
from me and Andrew. It's just so easy to hunt there. I would like to go out on some public. So, I mean, there's hammers that get killed every year on public.
yeah,
Um, I don't. I know my buddy in South Georgia hunts a good bit of it, and I'd like to get down there because they got some big deer down there.
hmm,
I think Clybell, because we used to go there every year on a camping slash fishing trip for spring break, and just I know the fishing, the turkey hunting, and everything. It just seems to kind of be going downhill. Um, I haven't hunted out there in a while, but um, I would like to, like I said, go down south, but I'd also I'm itching to go up into like the North Georgia mountain,
yeah.
those public land up there, because I know they got some big deer up there, and that's just a different kind of hunting that I'm not used to. That I would like to just get out there and learn more about it.
Well, if you guys are free or want to do it, let me know. And if y'all want to make the trip out here to this area and go hunt
Mhm,
Clybell or Gaither or whatever, I've probably
mhm,
got enough pins now where I could be like, okay, look, because I have 4 cameras out over there.
mhm.
One of which is in a very good spot. The other one is in a spot where I saw easily 160-inch 10 point like 3 4 years
Jeez.
ago. Spooked him, which I don't know if you know the story. Long story short, I think I'm watching squirrels all morning,
Yeah.
and it was in November, and I hear this noise behind me. I think it's a squirrel, and I'm irritated at this point. I'm like, dude,
Mhm,
where are these deer at? I turn around and there's just this massive, massive buck, and he saw me, busted off, ran 30 yards, gave me that last look like, nice try, and then
mhm. Yeah.
gone. Never saw him again. So, and it's
Jeez.
not even just Clybell, dude. Like, and I hate to even name drop because they were mentioned in the GON, and I was kind of mad about that because I'm like, dude, we don't need more traffic out there. Like, I
Mhm,
saw more traffic last year than I've ever seen. And, but, it's public land. We're all allowed to go to it.
mhm.
So, like I said, if you guys want to make the trip out here, I can sort of give my 2 cents on it. I know y'all have hunted it for years, so you probably know it a little better than I do. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's something about public this year that's got my interest.
Yeah.
It's I want to. I know they're there, and I want to find them. And South Georgia, I mean, dude, South Georgia. That's where the what's the state record name? Oh God, I can't remember it now.
There's the buck ash deer. I don't know if it's still the record. I think it's still the typical record.
Yeah,
And,
I'm thinking the non-typical. Oh, the Billy
um,
Patrick buck, Billy Joe
yeah,
Patrick.
yeah.
Yeah, that was killed in South Georgia, 248
Mhm.
inches. So I mean, if you're going to South Georgia, dude, you're in the right spot. You're basically in Illinois. It's just hotter.
Yep,
So
exactly.
yeah, man, I don't know. I guess okay. I need to ask you this. I've
Mhm.
been telling Andrew for 3 years now to put me on the waiting list for that club y'all are
Mhm.
at. Do you know if he did it? Because if not,
Uh,
I'm calling him right now, and I will
I'll
say,
have to
bro.
ask. We actually have a meeting down there on Saturday.
Okay.
So I can ask the guy that's over that. I'm sure he did, but like he's told you, I mean, the chances of getting in are
I
that's
know. I
slim to
know.
none. The wait list is so long, and it's rare that anybody leaves. Um, I mean,
Well, look,
I'm
tell him
definitely,
your buddy's got a podcast. Okay, tell
yeah,
him that we had T-Bone on a couple times. Throw a little bit of that magic in his ear and say, "Hey, man, we'll get you on. Come on."
that's right. He'll pay a little extra, yeah.
I'm kidding. I would honestly be like embarrassed if y'all did that. But
No, but we're very fortunate to have that place. I mean, it's a sanctuary. It's awesome.
well, in that county too, man. Like,
Oh yeah,
so
they
I had
got.
this
Hmm.
I had this conversation with a buddy of mine today because I drove past the club today. I drive past it
Hmm.
all the time,
Hmm.
and I was telling him about it. We were talking pretty much about genetics because he told me
Hmm.
some stuff. I can't say it on air yet, and even when I do, I'm not going to go into full detail. I can tell you when
Hmm.
we get off of here. But there was a discussion we had about genetics with certain people, and I told him, I'm like, dude, it comes down to what kind of deer are around. And that
Hmm.
county that y'all hunt in, that I used to hunt in, I've seen the biggest deer on camera over there. There was one, he was 150, easily 150-inch 9 point. And I'm like, dude, where is this coming from? Because people think Georgia, aside from what Seek One is doing, they're thinking that Georgia doesn't have big deer, but
Hmm.
they're wrong. I mean, I see 140s, 150s, 160s killed every single year, and
Yep.
they're all wild. So, I mean, have you noticed, like, I guess, because I know you guys do management over there, have you noticed
Hmm.
an increase in buck size in the past few years, or is it kind of hit or
I mean,
miss?
um, we have several. Uh, I would say there's a lot of deer that are over 120. A good, a decent amount that are over are Pope and Young, probably in their 130s. And then every year, I mean, we have pictures or ones killed in the 140s. So yeah, there's genetics there that are great, and that's what it sucks for some people. I mean, you can't kill a big deer if you don't have big deer, uh, and you can't really do much about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we got definitely got some good genetics, and it's always it's really never gone downhill. If anything, it's very consistent or gotten even better. Um,
So, would you think, because I know the county record there is over 200, would you think y'all might have a little elusive 200 hiding around over there? Because I've almost hit some deer that are in your club going home late
mhm,
at night when my mother-in-law used to live over there. I mean, literally, we'd be driving at like midnight, and there'd
mhm.
be just. I remember one time there was this giant buck that I actually had on camera. I pulled the car that week and saw him, and I was like, "Oh, I I almost hit him with my car earlier."
Mhm.
I mean, do you think it's possible?
I mean, I would say it's possible, probable, definitely not. I think that would have to be during the rut when they're
Just
just
running around.
traveling everywhere. Yeah, because the biggest deer that I know of, we had a picture of it, and he was in the 170s, I think. It was a non-typical, and we had one picture of it. It ended up getting killed. I want to say like 2 miles away. Um, but I just saw it in I think I saw it in GON.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, he was like 174 or five, something like that. He was a giant. Yeah.
that's wild. That I can't. I don't even know if I'd be able to handle seeing something like that in stand.
Oh, I know. I would almost just take one look at the rack and then you just try to
Just sit
forget
down and
about
be
it and
like,
just
nope, I can't do it. I get shaky knees when I see a fawn, dude. If I see a giant 170, I'll probably die in that tree.
yeah.
Um, so all right, I want to ask you a little bit more about your setup. So like, what bow are
Mhm.
you shooting this year? Because I know your dad's pro Stafford Bear.
Mhm.
I've got the Whitetail Max back here. I
Mhm.
think your brother's isn't your brother shooting one of the new bears too?
He is. I can't remember which one it is. I have the Execute 32.
Okay,
So I think that was last year or 2 years ago that it came out.
it was last.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, yeah, because the persist
Mhm.
was this year.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm supposed to be getting Dylan from the Bear podcast on after they
Mhm.
drop their new 2025 lineup.
Mhm.
And so I'm curious, like, is there a bow right now you've got your eye on that they have? Are you happy with the bow you've got? Is there anything you would change? Like
No, I mean,
what's
I love it, and I honestly, since I've always just got my hand-me-downs from my dad, I've never really. I mean, I know about all the new bows, but I've never really like looked into them a ton because, like as you know, most of the with all the technology out there, most of the flagship bows of any company are going to be great bows.
mhm.
Um, One I've never shot that I really want to. I want to shoot a Hoyt. Just to. I've never
Oh dude.
I've never shot one.
I love
Um,
Bear, but Hoyt is
mhm.
is right up there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a solid bow.
Mhm.
They're just $2,000 for one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I won't even touch them. Like I wouldn't
Mhm.
shoot the lift for the longest time. And I finally, when I was getting a new bow, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot it. I know the guys at the shop. If something happens, hopefully they're not gonna blame me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta be honest, man. Like maybe it's because the hype or whatever it is. It's a great bow, but I was expecting, and I think I said this after I had shot it, but or I said it on the podcast or something. But I was expecting to draw that bow back and shoot it, and like the whole universe would open up,
Mhm.
right? Like I
Yeah.
was expecting Jesus to be standing in front of me and be
Yeah.
like, "You found the way, my son." But
Yeah.
instead, I shot it and I was like, "Oh, that like I didn't really care for the back wall. It wasn't
Mhm.
that hard, and I don't know, dude. It kind of showed me like, all right, my bow's half the price and it shoots
Mhm.
just as good.
Yeah.
So whatever Bear is doing, um, they need to keep doing it because those
Yeah.
bows. I shot the new flagship and it's the same thing.
Mhm. They've definitely stepped their game up. I would say the past 5 years, they've really caught up with a lot of people.
Okay.
And I actually have it right here. Um, I got
Yes, sir.
a new sight this year. I got the Spot Hog, the 2 pin.
Yeah.
Because I had the a Trophy Ridge sight. Um, I can't remember what it was. It had two fixed pins and a slider.
Oh, is
Um,
that
the
React
trio, I think.
React Trio or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, but I just wanted to. I like the vertical pins on here. I just wanted 2 pins. Um, I think the gap in it is like 20 yards and then 33. So I still haven't gotten it fully sighted in, but I'll probably keep it at probably 22 and 35,
Okay.
um, just to kind of cover everything. And then I got a new rest this year. Uh, it's an AAE. It's from Knock On John Dudley, but
Oh, okay.
it's all his stuff is AAE.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that why
so
you
I got
wanted to shoot a Hoyt? Because
yeah,
we went
he
back to
just
Hoyt.
yeah, I did see that. Um, and then one thing I started this because I shot a index finger for forever, and then had a little bit of target panic, I want to say,
Really?
and switched to a thumb button, and that made it even worse. So then I was shooting at the beginning of last year. I was shooting. It was actually from Knock On. It's their index finger, but it's back tension. I can't
Oh, is
remember
it
the name.
the silverback?
No, so it's
Oh,
literally an index finger release with a strap and everything. And when you um, hit the trigger, that's just the safety. So then you just keep
oh,
pulling, and it's a surprise shot. And I
huh.
shot pretty well with that, but then just wasn't crazy about it. So then midway through last year, I already had a hinge release from True Fire, and started shooting that and started shooting it really well. So then I stuck with that the rest of the season. I turkey hunted with that, and then I still have that one. And then I got this one just to try. This is the knock on again. This is it's really a Carter release, but it just has his name on it. It's just a
Yeah.
2-finger hinge release. But ever since I started shooting that, some people just practice with those and then hunt with the thumb button. But I've gotten so used to it that I hunt with it, practice with it, everything, and I've learned just getting that surprise shot. It sounds counterintuitive, but you're so much more accurate when you can really get in that process of not knowing when it's going to go off. But it takes some practice and just for your mind to get used to it, that you're not punching the trigger. So I mean, I killed several deer with an index finger, and I don't think I was punching it that bad. But especially when target panic gets in, and you can kill a bunch of deer with that, but eventually it's gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
If you're not shooting the right process. So we got big into that because my dad struggled with that too, and he got Joel Turner's book, the Shot IQ book, and Joel Turner, I love him. He's
the man.
He's a great teacher.
The
yeah.
man.
And the way he explains everything really, really makes sense.
He kind of helped me out a little bit too, because I wouldn't say it was target panic, but I've always punched the trigger. And just like you were saying, I don't feel like I punch it that bad, but I've never had a bow that when I do that, it reacts to it. Well, this bear, I've been dealing with, like, perfect example was this past Sunday, I think it was. I was shooting, I was, getting my broadheads tuned up, sighted in, all that stuff. And my very first shot, drawn back, because I shoot at index too. So I'm drawn back and I'm, centered down, everything's good. And I hit it and it hits high. And I'm like, dude, I know my tape is right. And I wasn't holding, high, at least I don't think I was. And so I shot again, kept going. And I remembered some stuff that Joel Turner said. And he said, you don't want to know when that shot's going to go off. So I'm like, okay. So I drew back again and just placed my finger on the trigger. And as soon as, because it was like floating a little bit, and I just slightly put pressure and just keep slowly putting pressure till it went off, fixed all the problems. And I was like, dude, it can be that easy. I know there's some guys, they get drawn back and they're just all over the place. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand though, because it's like you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you kind of get this rhythm like muscle memory. You know what I mean? Maybe I just haven't dealt with real target panic yet. But
yeah, I just know that punching the trigger when you're in a hunting situation, there's a big buck there. I mean, you're just more likely to put it on brown and punch the shit out of that thing. I mean, and you don't know. That's just more likely to happen. And I've done it. My dad's done it. Andrew's done it. I mean, it's hard when your adrenaline's pumping like that. So that's why just to have a shot process that you go over and over and over, that to where when that deer is right there, it's just like you're in the backyard. Like you're so engrooved in it that you know what's going to happen. And just having confidence is huge, I think, in the area that you hunt and when you go to shoot. I mean, if you have any doubts, and I've had it before when I had target panic, I was like, I could have made these shots at does, bucks, whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll get a better shot, or I'm just not. You just have that voice in your head that's you're just not so sure about it, and if you're feeling that, then you just that's the opposite of what you need. You need to be. The deer comes out there, and if it's in your range, it's going to die. You're going to put a perfect shot on it.
So that makes me think of one last thing I want to ask you before we wrap this up. Last year, I already told you about the doe that I'd shot in the shoulder and she survived, arrow broke, whatever. It was a perfect shot. I mean, if I sent you these photos of her, you can see where the arrow hit and you'd be asking the same question I did. How in the hell did she live? Because it makes no sense. And like, I was shooting a fixed blade, hit her shoulder. I heard that loud crack and I'm like, that's either the shoulder that broke or that arrow just broke. But the arrow was in her still. So it made no sense. The next day, I completely switched setups, changed arrows, retuned my bow for that. I'm shooting mega meats again. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back to what I trusted. Because this is before I partnered up with VPA and all that other stuff. So I'm still shooting mechanicals. Dude, that next day, drawn back on a doe, let that arrow go, and that arrow goes 8 to 9 inches to the right. And she's broadside, right? Like at this point, I completely changed my whole shot process. I'm only taking a broadside shot. I've got that pin on the heart, send it, arrow goes far to the right. A hole that big through her guts, right? So I feel terrible. And that made me completely change my entire setup again. I probably went through like 4 setups last year. Have you gone through something like that where you've taken a shot, like you were saying you shot that one buck and got him in the brisket? Have you ever been like, before you were, taking questionable, like quartered away, hard quartered away, frontal, anything like that, and then switched it over to, okay, I'm only taking a broadside or like barely quartered away or barely quartered two shot? Or are you still kind of like, if it looks good, you're just going to send it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of depends on the moment, but I'm gonna prefer, I would say, broadside. Or really, what I think the best shot's a quartered away because you're getting everything.
Yeah.
But I've never shot one frontal. I have confidence in the setup I have now, but I would only do that, I think, if I was on the ground. And I know, I mean, that's a deadly shot. And I actually heard Jared Scheffler with Whitetail Adrenaline. They always hunt on the ground, but he was saying that he's seen more deer lost the most deer that he's seen lost is all broadside shots.
Yeah.
That he actually prefers that frontal shot. But like I said, with the angle and everything, I feel like you almost have to be on the ground for that. But actually, I've always wanted to do some ground hunting, and I may get into it this year, especially if you're getting deep in those bedding areas. I mean, there's probably not any trees to climb, and sometimes just your setup is going to be, you're going to have more shots, just a better overall setup from the ground. So, and I've listened to this Southern Outdoorsman podcast.
Oh yeah,
I love those
guys, dude.
And a bunch of them, they have a bunch of guys that hunt on the ground, ghillie suits and all that stuff, and they have great success. So I think it just opens up your opportunities more of what you can do.
Well, I can tell you, I've tried it on public. It's been a few years, but all right, let me say this. Let me think. I've killed just as many deer out of a tree stand now as I have on the ground, but it was always in a ground blind. I almost prefer the ground because you're eye level. You don't have to worry about branches. You can see everything that's going on. I have yet to get one actually like spot and stock. So I can't really give any opinion on it other than it's really badass when someone does it. Yeah. Like Jared Scheffler, I was listening to his when he was on the Working Class podcast recently when he was talking about that. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, you want a frontal shot? I mean, I get it. I know it's probably the most lethal shot you can get, and especially when you're shooting, a grizzly stick broadhead with 600 something grains. Like you're probably poking out the back end of that thing. But I don't know, man. I might try that this year just for fun, because scouting and everything, I found a couple bedding areas, and I don't know. You got me thinking about it now. I almost want to try it.
Yeah, and I think cool. I think I already have enough adrenaline when you're in the tree and one's close by, but I can imagine being eye level with them.
Yeah,
what that would be like.
Well, okay, I lied. I actually did get on one deer 2 years ago, ground level. It was the absolute worst hunting day that I've ever had. It was opening day, and I don't know if you know this about me. I've said it 1,000 times on here. I'm sure Andrew's probably told you. Your dad might have told you. I used to be terrified of heights. I still don't like them, but I would get in a tree stand and look down, and I'm only 10 foot up, and I feel like I'm 100 foot up, right? So to make the long story short, because it's a very long story, we're at Clybell. I go way back in this one spot I knew some deer would be in. I get up in a tree. My tree stand almost falls. I'm almost falling out of it now that I'm up in the tree because I don't have the platform set right. It's hot. I haven't seen anything. I've made a ton of noise. And I'm like, dude, I'm done, right? And I get everything put together, and I walk out. And it's kind of ironic because this is the same year I killed Pickles. So I'm thinking my year is going to be terrible. And then a week later, I literally killed the biggest buck so far that I've killed. But I'm walking out, and It was probably like a mile back. So I'm tired. I'm sweating. I'm not worried about bumping deer. I do have my bow in my hand, but I don't have any arrows knocked or anything. My stand's on my back. It's a steel stand, so it's heavy. And I'm literally done. And I come around this corner and I'm walking back up the path. And there's this doe 45 yards away, just crossing the path. And so I put the tree stand down, try to knock an arrow, try to pull my rangefinder out. And eventually I did find out how far. At first I thought she was, 50, maybe 55. Turns out she was closer. That was the only time I've ever almost been able to shoot a deer on the ground. So if that counts, you don't need to be quiet. You don't need to be scent free. You could just tromp through the woods and you'll walk up on them because she did not really care. She didn't even run off. She just happened to look over, flipped her ear a little bit, flicked her tail, and then just went back in the woods. I was like, dude,
that actually reminds me. I have shot a doe off the ground. I was actually walking to my stand, and she was out feeding in this little swamp bottom. And I kind of stood there and she just looked at me. So then I took my stand off, knocked an arrow. She's still just looking at me. So then I drew back and I shot her and I ended up hitting a little low. Like the deer, I think I've lost 5 deer now and I've hit them all below the heart, like that 3 inches. And it's just like a flesh wound. But that's been my nemesis, is hitting low. Not a lot of people shoot high, but for some reason, I know I've shot, I think, a buck or two that low and lost them, and then several does. But that was pretty crazy.
Well, the bucks you have on camera this year, don't do that. Please don't.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll cry with you. Yeah. I will literally call you. If you text me and say, man, I saw this one, and you send me the photo of who it was, and you tell me that, I will FaceTime you, and I'll have a beer in one hand and tears running down my face, because that would break my heart, dude.
Oh man, yeah, I'll only be calling you after I double on one, because
that's what I want. I want to get that call, but look, I'm here for you if you miss. I'm here for you if you kill one. I honestly, man, I guess to wrap it up, because I know I got to get my daughter in bed, and it's been one of those days. I hate to have to cut it short,
good.
But I do have to give you and your family credit, because the things that you guys do is it kind of, that's why I wanted to get y'all on the podcast, not just because, like I said, I've known you and Andrew for what is it, 10, 15 years now. I know you and I weren't really I guess acquainted in high school and all that, but I've known your brother. I grew up with him, and what you guys have done, I wish I would have known 15 years ago what y'all were getting into, because I had absolutely no idea. And I want the people that listen to this to know how awesome of a family you guys are. The fact you did a 100-mile marathon last year. I say that and my pinky toe is flopped. Okay. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I truly meant it when I said you're like a Southern version of Cam Hanes, right? Yeah. And you want to shoot a Hoyt. I mean, hell, I feel like you need to meet Cam Hanes at this point, right?
I would love to. Him and David Goggins are my two people.
I mean, who's going to carry the boats, dude?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But no, man, like I said, I have to give y'all credit where it's due. You guys are doing what the majority of the hunting, I guess, community want to do, and y'all make it happen. So I don't know, man. If I feel like if I sound like I'm kissing your ass, I'm sorry, but
no, you're good. I appreciate the accolations. Yeah, thank you.
Of course, man.
We'll definitely have to keep in touch come the season, and it will be here before we know it. Hopefully it cools down a little bit, though. I mean, it's hot as hell out there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think it's Friday and Saturday is going to be a low of 61, and then next week it's back in the 90s. So
this morning actually felt pretty good. So
dude,
hopefully,
I got to work this morning. I was on the phone with my buddy. I'm like, bro, it feels like deer season. I was like, it feels like this opening morning, even though I may not be hunting opening morning. Like, I might just go do a ground and pound for a couple hours. I mean, why not? But anyway, man, thank you for coming on. Is there anything you need or you want to say on here for people who maybe, if you've got something going on that, you want them to follow you on or promote, anything like that at all?
Not really. I mean, I really just say, just get out there and really just enjoy it. I mean, um, I know you talked about it with my dad, but one thing that I love about being in the woods, I feel like that's the church out there almost. I feel so much closer to God just in the outdoors. I feel like that's where, I belong, and just get out there, enjoy it. I would say don't take it too serious, like I don't, but um, just take it all in and enjoy the outdoors that God created, and just have fun with it. And hopefully everybody goes up there and kills a big deer. Hopefully I can kill another Pope and Young this year. That's my goal. So,
Man, yeah, all right. I know I said I wanted to wrap it up. I do have to say one more thing. One more thing. One of my favorite things about y'all is you are so open about your faith, and it's unapologetic. That right there is extremely important. So I have to again give you guys credit.
Yeah.
But dude, God, I love that. I love it. Like when your dad was on, he ended it with something like that. I think Andrew did. Now you're doing it, dude. That's what the people need to hear, that, because I say it in the intro every time. Like, if you don't know Jesus, you at least give him a chance, right?
Exactly. It's not gonna make your life any worse. It's only gonna help. So
Exactly.
and that's what I think the world needs. That's part of our problem now, that we're straying away from that. So
awesome way to end it. Austin, thank you. Seriously. I want to get you back on this fall after you kill whatever giant it is that you guys have on camera. I know that, I feel like it's going to happen. So when that happens, we are going to get you back on, and I want to hear the whole story. If you don't call me when you kill him, I can find out where you live from your brother or your dad. So just remember that.
That's right.
I will come knocking on your door at midnight and be like, hey man, where's that deer at? Huh?
I'll be FaceTiming on the blood trail.
There you go. Awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you again
Yes,
for coming
sir.
on. Seriously.
Have a good one, and good luck this season. I'll keep in touch.
You too, boss.